Welcome to Seesaw for Early Childhood, brought to you by the Technology Training Team. You can access all resources for digital learning and remote teaching at bit.ly/T3PGCPS. I'll do one more refresh for something that's coming up later on. Okay, we are your trainers for today. I'm on the far right. My name is Jake Voschel. I'm the lead for iPads for the district. And I have a portion of Cluster 7, which are middle schools. My colleagues with me today are Marianne Santos and Clarissa Burton. And yes, I went from right to left. Horrible for teaching reading. So we're going to go ahead and walk you through Seesaw for Early Childhood so that you can experience what that is. There's a quick video here. For time's sake, we're going to hold that off. Once this presentation is uploaded, you'll be able to access this video, and it walks you through what Seesaw is. I'm going to take you through it so that you know what it is. It's great for student portfolios. It's one-stop shopping for getting student work, for having them explain their thinking, and for you to be able to provide directions and instructions for activities to students, both in written form and in an auditory format. For language development, it's a great tool to access that. It's going to allow for some formative insights. You're going to be able to gather information in one location. It's going to store it there. And then in a month's time, when the students have grown, you'll be able to go back and have a reflection piece from the beginning of their learning to the checkpoints on the way through. And there's also a component for family communication, which makes it super easy for students and families to see how they're doing in school. Given our unique environment that we're working in now, students are doing their work at home with their families. When we eventually get back to a different scenario where you're with the students during the day and students go home, you can communicate via Seesaw for parents to be able to see what their students are doing and how they're doing instructionally in school. So these are the three things. How does Seesaw work? Seesaw uses a bunch of different tools to allow students to capture and demonstrate their learning, creates a portfolio for them. There's a couple different avenues in which they're going to do that, and we're going to look at all of those as we go through. Teachers are going to get great insights into students' understanding of their work throughout their learning process. And then families get to see the work, and they get to leave comments and encouragement on the assignments that their students have completed. So we're going to walk you through a couple different scenarios in the next 90 minutes. The first part is we're going to walk you through so you can see what Seesaw looks like. You're going to experience that as a student. Then we're going to walk you through the teacher side, make sure that you're signed in and signed up and have access to Seesaw. And then we're going to go over the parent access and what that piece is going to look like. I want to put something out on the table right at the very beginning. Let me go back a screen. Right now, student accounts are in the process of being created so that the rosters can get pulled over from SchoolMax and into your Seesaw accounts. So you won't have to do anything with rostering your students. That's all being done on the back end. Unfortunately, IT did not have those components completed. They're still working between SchoolMax, Clever, and Seesaw to figure out all those ins and outs to make sure that's there so that the first day of instruction, all those pieces can take place. So currently, student rosters have not been loaded in. They are actively working on getting that information done, but they need to make sure all the right names and the right accounts are all tied to the right teachers and the right locations. So as we walk through our process today, take that piece, put it to the side, put it in a little box and leave it there. That's not where we're going to focus for today. We're going to take a look at how we use Seesaw, how to make sure that you can learn and walk through and develop activities and lessons for them as we move forward. If you are already signed into Seesaw, and we'll get to this a little bit later, I just want to mention it now. The first part of today, we're going to be walking through the student experience. So we'll make sure that you have the opportunity to switch your account by clicking on the gear and switch. So we'll touch on that in a little bit to make sure that everyone's in the right space as we move forward. So the Seesaw platform looks like this. The really nice thing is there's going to be a couple different ways to add content. So on the left-hand side of the screen right now, we see sample student. That's a great resource that they've built, so you can build some things for your families. You can add it to the journal. This is essentially your ad hoc version. We'll do an example of this shortly. Going to give you an assignment right now. Here's what I want you to do. And then the students are going to go and complete it, and they're going to post it to their journal. So it might be take a picture of yourself and write your name beneath it. You might ask them to do it again in 2 weeks and again 2 weeks after that. And you're going to see some growth and some changes in there. So that'll be a long running journal specifically for what's the task I want to give them to do. And then students respond. And there's lots of different avenues that they can respond as they complete this. The second way to add content is to add activities. Activities are more your traditional type of assignments that you would assign to students, and they can come from the activity library. Seesaw comes with an abundance of already built resources that anyone can go ahead and grab, take, adapt, and modify for your needs and add it to your class so that it becomes part of your program instead of what's in the library. But we also have the ability to create your own from scratch. And we're going to walk you through how to do all of those pieces. So you'll have time to explore the activity library. You'll also have time to create something entirely on your own. So real quick, the tools that are available for students are as follows. The very tip top of my screen, you've got an undo and a redo button. I think this is a super valuable tool to make sure that everyone has access to, oops, I made a mistake, I want to undo, and oops, I want to redo. So you'd be able to turn that piece on. Sorry, folks. I need to check something real quick. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry about that. Just had to make a quick adjustment to Zoom settings. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, sorry. Thank you for your patience. So on our tools that we are looking at, we have a text tool to add labels. So if I want to have students label something that's on a screen, we're able to do that. I can draw and record to capture a learning process. Keep in mind, this is a microphone, but it's going to let you draw and it's going to then let you record the information. So I can then do a recording over top of. We can make a collage with multiple photos and take photos that we want to add to our assignment or to our journal. We can add shapes. Shapes are a great tool to use, especially with Seesaw and especially with early learners, because combining shapes allows us to create new things. And it's a great tool to be able to do that. And you can adjust and change backgrounds. And we'll take a look at some different backgrounds that are available. You can also caption with text or voice. The tools along the very bottom, you've got a pencil, you've got a felt tip marker, you've got a highlighter. We also have a glow highlighter, and then an eraser. For each of the first four, you have the ability to click on each one. You can increase the size of the tool and the mark that it makes. And you can also adjust and select the color that you want the students to use. The glow pen is one that is typically used in the examples that I've seen so far, or if I want students to trace over certain letters that I've given their name onto a screen and I want them to highlight, they can go ahead and trace over top of, and you'd be able to see, because it's in a glow, that they've done that and they've done it correctly. So there's a couple different ways that that can be used. So these are the basic tools that are there just for kind of doing some traditional setups. So here's our first example, and we're gonna briefly touch on a couple. On this example, on the left-hand side, there's two tools that were used. They use the camera tool and they use the write and speak tool. So they use this one here, and it gave access to both. And this is for Writer's Workshop. And this was the end result.
I am great at art.
So the student took a picture, they drew what they're good at, they wrote, I am great at art, and then they were able to go ahead and record what their sentence says. So as a teacher, I get to take a look at what words did they recognize, what letters did they recognize, but they weren't drawing with the computer. So one of the benefits of using Seesaw, this is a student who used paper and pencil and crayons, not necessarily building everything using digital tools, but using digital tools to do their sharing out. So it's a great resource for doing things other than, you know, just because we're on digital learning does not mean that everything has to be done digitally. The share out works in a different way. This is another one. This example, I'm not going to play this one because the volume is very low on this one. The student has the three pictures, and then they went ahead and wrote 4 plus 3 is 7. They said 6 plus 1 equals 7. They said 5 plus 3 equals 7. But as they did their narration over top, the student counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 5 plus 3 is not 7. So this little mark here, they were Xing out the one yellow, then crossed out the 3, wrote a 2, and said 5 plus 2 is 7. The thinking that is involved in having a student be able to talk out that process is what we're looking for. Being able for a student to be able to self-analyze is super powerful. So I wanted to make sure that you saw at least a quick example of what that looks like. We have another example. This one is with our words, our CVC words. Get to the right one. So for this example, and there's several slides, if you'll notice up in the corner, for this activity, this was just slide 1. If I go to slide 2, I also have dog, and slide 3, I think, had pig. So what the students are getting, they're getting the blank slide with just blocks. They said each letter as they moved them up to make the word, and then read the word back. So from a teacher's perspective, that lets me know, do I know my letters? Can they say it? Can they read it? And kind of walks through. The other really nice part about that is when students are doing the recordings, it's a great way, sorry, captionings went off, to kind of see if parents are involved, how much they're doing or not doing as they're doing the recordings. So it's another great way to see what students are doing and how they're doing them. In this student example, the letter A was listed. The teacher went ahead and added several different pictures or icons. And the student was responsible for circling the words or the pictures that started with that sound. So they need to be able to identify each one and then simply draw a circle around or draw an X through, whichever they want to do, for letter identification. So a nice quick tool. When you have the video example of this, if we put the presentation up, you'll be able to play each one of the samples in its entirety so you can hear and see what's going on. So now what we'd like you to do is we want you to experience Seesaw from the student perspective. So I want you to take your teacher hat and put it to the side for a quick second. And I want you to look at this solely from the standpoint of the student perspective. So open up a new tab on your computer or a new window and go to app.seesaw.me. Marianne has already posted this into the chat window. So did Clarissa, sorry. So click on that blue link that's there or type in app.seesaw.me. Once you get to the next screen, it's going to say, identify, are you a teacher or student? For this case, you're going to be a student. So click on I'm a student. And then you're going to type in the code. The current code is FQTWUS. It's in the chat window now. And it's on the screen in front of you. So go to the link app.seesaw.me in a new tab or a new window. And then access it by clicking on I'm a student and type in the code FQTWUS. If you are logged in as a teacher, you'll see your name at the top. It'll say teacher if you had already signed in. You can click on the gear and you can go down to switch to student account. And go back a screen. So once you've gone to app.seesaw.me, choose I am a student, type in the code FQTWUS. And then you're going to find your name on the list. We grabbed your names from the MyPPS registration, and you were entered in alphabetically by your last name based on what you were registered in MyPPS as. The code again, FQTWUS. We're going to go ahead and move on. Check the chat. If you are just getting to app.seesaw.me, take a look at the chat. You'll find the link there and the link. So what we're going to ask that you do, a couple different ways for adding content to the journal. You're going to tap the green add button. So we're on journal here on the side. We're going to tap the green add button, and that's going to let us add to our journal entry. So let me jump over here real quick. If I go to sample student, I'm going to see, I'm going to go up. So sample student is me. One of the benefits, I'm going to segue out from your student mode to teacher mode real quick. Every class has a sample student so that you can go ahead and build a demonstration for your students. That way you're able to see exactly what the students interact with. So for sample student, I get the option to hit add because journal is what's selected here on the side. So I click journal. I'm going to click sample student so I know that it's me. You're going to click on your name. And then you're going to hit the add button. It gives you the option, post student work, assign activity, send announcement. So I can do post student work. These are my options for posting student work. I can post a photo. I can post a drawing. You'll notice that drawing is not simply drawing, it's the microphone, the label maker, and the shapes. So you've got several tools that are built within there. You can add video directly from. You can upload a file, a photo, or a video from the device that you're working on. You can add a note. You can even add a link. So if you had students who were doing something they wanted to add a link, they could build from there. Okay, so I went to post student work and I can add a photo, a drawing, a video, upload all of that out. Let me close that out real quick. So let's take a look at what our journal assignment is. So bear with me a quick second. I want to make sure that everyone is able to follow. The journal prompt, and I'm going to put this back in just a minute. I'm going to walk through the steps and then I'll put this back. Find a two-dimensional shape in your house. Take a picture of the object, label the picture, and spell the word the best you can by sounding out the word. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of modify this, what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to go to add. I'm going to go to post student work. Now, it asked me to take a photo. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to find a photo. My camera popped up. And I'm going to back up. This is one of my pictures of my Avengers. I'm going to take a photo. Now, my task was to write the name of the shape. So I'm going to choose my pencil. I'm going to choose a thicker pen. I'm going to choose a color. This is a square picture. I'm going to click done. Once I click done, it stops the recording, but then I have to either hit draft if I'm not quite finished, or I hit the check mark, the green circle with a check, to say that it's complete. So here's sample students assignment. As the teacher, I could click on that assignment. This is a square picture. And I can hear what's there. I can see what I wrote as a student across the top as I build from there. So what we're asking that you do is the following, and I'll put the directions back up. I want you to find a two-dimensional shape. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to do this. Find a two-dimensional shape that's near you. Take it over to your computer. Take a photo of it. Label the picture, and then spell the word as best you can by sounding out the word. So for our purposes, you're a student. What I want you to do, find a shape, take a picture, label it, and then record your voice. So 3 things: find a shape, take a photo of it, label it, and then you can do a recording on top of it as well. So this is the journal prompt. I've provided the prompt here. From the student side, you're going to go in, you're going to click on the add and post student work. You're going to find photo and then add your elements from there. So we're going to give you 5 minutes. So that'll be 3:03. We'll stop and come back. So for your activity, keep in mind, find a shape, take a picture, label it. So you can use the pencil or you can use the text tool, whichever one you want to do. And then you can record what it is that you've written. I'm going to move forward one slide real quick. Those are the ways to add. Add the camera. Once that's complete, you'll hit the circle in the upper right-hand corner with the green circle with the white check in it. And that will let you know that that's been posted. That is a great question. Before you hit that green dot, or it's a green circle, you can click on what you recorded so that you can see and hear what it is. You can get rid of it and then redo it again if you need to. We've got a couple more minutes to keep working for those of you who are trying to figure out where you are and how to get there. You're doing great. We have 96 participants and we have just under half have made their post. So remember from the beginning of today, when we first logged all on, just want to give a quick reminder. As we're walking through the different parts that we're going through today, if you're able to follow along, I know some of us are on phones, some of us are on tablets, some of us are on Chromebooks, some are on Dells, PCs, MacBooks, whatever tool you're using to access this with. If this is very brand new for you and you're starting to get lost, just take a breath. This is just the demo side for the student. In just a bit, we're going to go ahead and start working on the teacher side. All of this is being recorded, so you'll have access to it later, where you're not trying to watch Zoom and interact and understand what's going on at the same time. So we're going to be able to let you see and access everything. And we're going to be providing, we will be providing additional sessions, both beginner and advanced sessions after today. We were asked at the last minute to please make sure that we gave a level set for everyone at the beginning. So we wanted to make sure that was there. If it says waiting for teacher approval, that means that I'm waiting for the teacher to approve this. So if you take a look at the bottom of, if you're able to see my screen, if you switch back over to the Zoom screen or the Zoom tab, the bottom of my screen, it says that there are 57 unapproved posts and they are up for review. So if I click on that one, this is the exciting part. I'm not going to get into this because this is my colleague's deal for later, but I can see this is Kayla's. She did a circle. This is a square. I can take a look at different shapes and videos or recordings that different people have done. Oh, we did the glow stick or the glow pen for theirs. So I have the ability to approve or deny or delete. I'm not going to get into this part right now because we're just in student view right now. So we're going to hold tight on those. We have quite a few people who have logged in and posted theirs. So if you're still finishing up, go ahead and hit the green circle in the corner. Make sure that it gets posted so that you've had the ability to get a journal entry added. Okay, so go ahead and hit the green circle in the corner if you were in the process of adding. That way it gets added in. So that part is complete. And it's going to say waiting for teacher approval. And that's the perfect thing that you want to be able to do. So approving post, this is what you should see, waiting for teacher approval. That means that it's not been posted to anyone's journal except for your own. And then you're going to get to, once it's been posted, your teacher will approve it. And they're going to either like or comment on that post as well. So it gives you the ability as a teacher to get feedback. And me as a student, I get to see that the teacher said or did X, Y, or Z for the assignment. So having access to the journal is great to be able to have access to. So the other tab is the activities tab. Activities tab is right next to the journal tab. This is more like the traditional assignments. So if I go over to my class, I'm going to click on activities. And I notice that on the left under activities, there are two different activities that have been assigned for today. The first one is shape sort. So I can look at this, see what it says. It's kind of neat. It says tap the plus, add a response, go to a T and move the shapes into the correct column. Tap the green check when you're done. Well, that's great. I'm not in preschool, and it's great that I can read. However, I can also hit play instructions. So I'm going to click it once to make it a little bit bigger. And I can hit play instructions.
Tap Add and go to Label and move the shapes into the correct column. Tap Check and check when you are done.
So you can actually add audio for each one of your assignments as you go. The bottom assignment is name, letter, hunt. Find something in your house that starts with the first letter in your name. For example, Matthew begins with M. I have a mug. Matthew and mug both begin with M. So you can tap the camera, take a picture. Tap the pencil, write the letter. Tap the microphone and share what you found. Notice that the instructions, this one's 33 seconds long. The top one is 13 seconds long. The thing that I especially like about these, one of these was created by a colleague, and one of them was pulled from the library. So we're going to get to see that in a minute. One of the struggles we had during this last time, when we did the journal, some folks were like, oh, I need to see what the journal entry was. Different in activities. Here's the activity. When I hit add a response, and I'm going to say sample student, you'll notice at the very top, the instructions are still there. I can hit view instructions. Oh, here's what the instructions are. Oh, it says take a picture. So I'm going to hit the camera so I can pull that back up. But I can still hit view instructions again so that I always have access to the instructions during any stage of the process, whether it's drawing, video, whatever the piece may be. So what we would like you to do, we're going to give you a little bit of time to do this. Decide, do you want to do shape sort? And this is what the shape sort looks like. Wait for it to pop up. View instructions. I'm going to sort them based on what they are. So here's my square. I'm going to drag it up and put it in place. So I'm going to move all of my shapes up where they need to be. When I'm done, I'll hit that check mark in the corner. And because it's mine that I grabbed, it's already associated with my name, and I don't have to worry about making sure my name is on the assignment. Or you have the option to choose name, letter, hunt. You can click on that one, click add a response. You're going to add and follow the directions for that. And then you'll hit the green check mark that shows up once you've completed that activity. So we're going to give you a couple minutes. Choose either shape sort, and some people have already started, my go-getters. Choose either shape sort or name, letter, hunt. Once you have that completed, hit the green check, make sure it's been submitted. If you would like to do the second activity, by all means, you can do that. But we're going to give you about 6 minutes. So it's going to take us to 3:15. So we're going to give you until 3:15 to choose either shape sort or name letter hunt. I'm going to go ahead and go on mute so that you don't have me in the background, and go ahead and choose which activity. You'll start by clicking add response and then completing the task. Good luck and have fun. Let me provide a little bit of encouragement. Right now, there are 15 responses waiting in shape sort. So 15 folks have done shape sort so far. We have 5 that have done the name letter hunt. If you get done one and want to do a second one, that's great. If you're still trying to figure out which one you want to do, that's great. Remember, you're not being graded for this today. We just want to make sure that you have time to experience completing an activity. If you get one done and you want to do the second one, because we still have about 3-4 minutes left, you're free to do that as well. We have great responses coming in so far. We have 44 responses for shape sort, 17 for name letter hunt. Not quite the 97 participants. So if you have not gotten in or have not completed, go ahead and please make sure that you're in, that you've completed one of the activities. And again, at the beginning of this today, I told you guys this is a safe place. If you're not able to get in or if it's struggling to make the connections for you, that's fine. Just trying to encourage as many folks as possible that are able to get in and get a response recorded so that we have that. All right, so at this time, if you're actively in one of the activities, go ahead to the upper right-hand corner and click the green circle with the white check mark in it so that it submits your response. Just stop where you are, go to the corner, click the green circle, submit that so that response goes in. Just super quick, and I'm not going to spend a long amount of time because this is not part of the student experience, but I want you to see this part. From the teacher side, I can see that there are 50 responses waiting for approval. The really nice thing is for shape sort, this particular activity, I can click on that activity. It's been assigned. There's 52 that are waiting. I can see everyone that I assigned this to in this class. So Kayla, I'm going to call you out real quick. She hit the orange dot that said save it as draft because she's going to come back to it later. That's a great thing because it shows you the progress on where they are as they're working. But I can see which ones are in and which ones I need to review. The review process is going to be covered later as part of the teacher platform. And if I go down to the name letter hunt, I can do the same thing. On the teacher side, I can go in and I can see who's logged in. There's Pia. Hi, Pia. And you can see how everyone's logged in and where they are. This is going to get covered in a little bit more detail from the teacher side. But you can notice from this side, I can see people have signed in, which ones are videos, which ones are pictures, things of that nature. So it's a great way from the teacher side, I can see exactly who's completed and who hasn't, and I get to see it in one big fell swoop as you go through. And it does it real time because here we're now at 53 and 29 instead of 52 and 27. So from the student perspective, keep in mind, captioning went off again. From student perspective, you either journal or you complete activities. The activities will be listed here. Once they're completed, it'll tell you that it's been done. So a great resource for you to build from. Just the directions for the activity, hit the plus, hit view instructions, hit the green circle with the check to submit. So what we'd like you to do right now, if you could, go ahead and go to the chat. We'll give you about 2 minutes. Type in, what did you enjoy about the experience as a student? Disregard if you were running into issues as the adult trying to make sure you got into the platform, because remember, you're doing 2 things at once right now. You're watching and participating in an adult Zoom session while you're actively involved in a Seesaw. So just the part of the journal entry and the activities, what did you enjoy about that experience? And what did you find challenging? It does not do live translation of the recordings. Students have access and families have access from either a computer or an iPad. So it doesn't matter which platform they're using. And the only time that you need the app is if you're using an iPad. Otherwise, you'll activate everything through a browser. And yes, these trainings will be posted. The recordings will be posted later. It is tricky on the phone. So writing is tricky. It's scrolling really fast for me. Writing is very difficult, but that's also why I believe that they went with iPads for pre-K, preschool, and kindergarten, because they can use their finger or they can use a stylus to write, and you can work on that fine motor skill as opposed to using a mouse or a trackpad, which is super tricky to use. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch gears at this point and take you through the teacher experience and the sign-in experience as we move forward. I believe this is going to Marianne. There we go.
Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about the teacher side. So many of you were signed in as a student, and what I'm going to have you do is to sign out of that so that we can sign in as a teacher. And also, for those of you who have never created an account, I'm going to be showing you step by step on what to do. And for those who already created an account, just hold off while I explain how to start from the beginning for those who have never created an account. And then I'll be showing you some additional information about that. So I'm already signed in as myself as a teacher here, or if you are a student, on the top left, I have my name. If I click on it, then right next to my name, you'll see the gears icon. And if I select that, you may have additional options where you can switch to admin account, switch to student, or switch to teacher. For here, just to make sure that I'm completely out of it, I'm gonna select sign out. And it's gonna ask me, are you sure? So I'm gonna select sign out. And then this is where the options where I have, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm a family member, and on. So if you do go to app.seesaw.me from the beginning, so I'm gonna put that here in the chat. Okay, and you're going to be selecting I'm a teacher. And then there's options for you, I'll select create account, and it'll ask you for all this information. You are not going to be doing that. If you're signing in for the first time and creating an account, we are not filling in all this information. Instead, at the bottom, you'll do teacher sign up with Google. So you'll make sure you select teacher sign up with Google. And then when you click on that, a little pop-up window will pop up. I'm already signed into my PGCPS email because I'm using Chrome. So I have the option here for my PGCPS account. Make sure that you are selecting your PGCPS email. If you don't see that as an option, you can click use another account, then put in your PGCPS credentials. Once you do that, then you'll select your email. It's gonna give it a moment to load. And because I already have an account, it will have me already signed, it'll have me sign in the regular way. It's still loading. And then I am signed in. But if it is your first time, you're gonna have, it's gonna prompt you to ask what grade you are, what school you are. So just complete that information on there. And again, please make sure you're using your PGCPS email. So I'm gonna go back to the presentation. And just some neat things. I just showed you how, if you're a new teacher, if you never use Seesaw, you will go, you will also get invited as a link from the administrators once all the accounts are set up. You will follow the link emailed to you. And for those who are existing, it says if you already have a Seesaw account, you make sure your account email is your school email. And when you click your profile icon, you'll select the gear, select account settings, and click on your email to update it. So I'm just gonna go show here that you may soon get if you haven't already, you'll get an email soon where it looks something like this, and it will have a green button that says activate your account. So that is how you'll activate it, and making sure that it's the same account that's linked with our system, because we are using not just the free Seesaw, but the paid version with the district, which is Seesaw for Schools. Also, if you can't find the email, you may need to check your spam folder and contact your district Seesaw admin or lead to resend it to you so that you can make sure you get that activation. And I'm gonna go up here just to show when you select your name, select the gear, and I select account settings. You'll see here is my email address to make sure that is the correct email address that you're using for your account. Okay. Also, just to let you know that your administrators will be creating the classes and adding the students for you, and what sign-in mode the students will be using. So you will not have to do this. We're waiting for IT to make sure everything is aligned and the rosters and school max are aligned, so that to make sure the right students are going to the right teachers and the right classes are in the right schools. So this is the part that you don't need to do. Again, you're not creating classes and you're not adding students or choosing the sign-in mode, because that will be done for you once everything is set up, and we're hoping soon. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the teacher dashboard. So once you have signed in, the dashboard will look similar to the students. The only difference, of course, is that you can access and see all of your students, and that's where you can create the assignments. So you could see here on the left side, you see the journals that were posted in here, and then I have a notification to approve all my students' posts. Once I approve it, it will stay into their journal, and then I'll be showing you as well how to approve and unapprove any posts. So the main window here is whatever you select on the right side. So here is my journal where I can view it, the whole class. Activities is where you can create the activities and see the activities that your students have completed. And then there's inbox, so that when you have messaging and any notifications will be here. And then the last one is skills, where things are organized by a certain, in other words, like standards. But the first thing I want to talk about is on the top right. So this is a class that I've already created. Again, you don't need to create classes, but you can create a sample one just to like take a look at everything. But on the top right, you'll see a wrench, and these are the settings for this specific class. So I have a class here called ECC Advanced 924, and I'll select the wrench. And when I open this, these are the settings just for this class alone. I have the option to click students and families. So this is where I need to add any students or add any families. Again, you're not doing the students one because that's going to be done for you. The next one is class name, where you can change or edit the name of your class. Like, oh, I realize that I don't want it to call it ECC Advanced 924. I can change the name by typing it in here. So I'm going to click the arrow to go back. You can also choose your grade level. It does do pre-K all the way to 12. There is no option for preschool. So if you want to choose pre-K, or you can choose other if you don't see that option for you. When the next one, you'll see manage teachers. This is where you can include your co-teachers, like your paraprofessionals and your ISEAs. All you have to do is type in their full email address, and they will get an email saying that they have been invited to be a co-teacher. So for example, here I have Jake and Clarissa as my current teachers. Once they have accepted it, you'll see their names pop up down here. I'm gonna go back here. Then after that, manage teachers, you can manage the look of your class. So right now I'm using this seafoam green color. If I click the little arrow, I can change the color. So if I have multiple classes, I could say one class is green, one class is blue, one class is purple. I'm gonna go back. And you can also have the option to change the icon for your class. So I have this little rainbow bear. If I click on the little arrow next to it, there are some images that's already made by Seesaw provided, or if you have your own image that you want to upload, you can do that by clicking upload image. Go back here. Now, again, I'm going to be ignoring for the first 3 parts of the student section in the class settings, because this will be done for you. So you don't have to worry about the setup for the sign-in mode, the manage students, and the home learning student codes. But below that are options that you can set for your class. So students have, like social media in Seesaw, students have the option to like and comment on each other's journal entries. So if I click on this, right now I have it turned off, so enable student likes. In the beginning, when I have my students participate in Seesaw, I like to turn this off until I can explain to them how to use like and what is like for. They just think it's the cutest thing. Oh, I can like everything that I want. And also I turn off comments in the beginning until they understand what comments is and how to give comments to each other, where I had students just sending emojis to each other and just for the fun of it because I think it's cute. So this is something that you can turn on or off according to your needs for your class. And then the last one is new comments require approval. So even though a student can make comments, you get to see it first before anyone else. So if a student is posting something inappropriate, you can approve or delete that comment as well. So you have that option. So I'm going to go back here, scroll down some more. I also always keep on new items require approval. So anytime a student does an activity or does a journal post, I always want to see it first before anyone else can see it. So I make sure that is turned on so I can approve it and make sure and filter if it's something appropriate or not. There's also an option for item editing. So even though a student has posted something, they can go back and edit it and make changes to it. So you have the option to turn that on or off. Allow students to edit who is tagged in a post. So you can also tag students in it. You have the option to turn that on or off. And then the last one I always have on, it says enable sample student. So when I was in the classroom using Seesaw, I created a fake student for me to try out and show my students how they're supposed to respond. But thankfully, Seesaw has finally put in enable sample student. That way you can try out the activity yourself from the student's side and show the students how to answer a specific question that you have. And Jake did show that when he was showing how to take a picture and do a drawing on it, you see here grayed out in the back, he did it as a sample student. And then there's additional options where you want to enable family access, where you can invite the parents to do messaging through them. And I'll be talking more about families communication toward the end of the session, but there is the access there. And also there's an option for a class blog where you can do kind of like a newsletter type of thing through Seesaw instead of having a separate website for that. Let me just pause a moment. My captions have turned off. And then there's additional settings in here that are more advanced about managing folders and managing skills, which we'll be talking more about during our advanced classes. So that is the overall overview of class settings. So I'm going to close this. Again, to access settings for just this class alone, you'll click on the little wrench on the top right. The other settings I want to show you is on the left side. So here you see I'm signed in. If I click on it, I could see all the classes that I have created or classes that I am included as a co-teacher. So I can go from one class to another. And at the top, you'll see the little gears icon. If you click on it, you have account settings. You can share your Seesaw. Need to contact Seesaw for support, any device information about privacy, signing out, and the option to switch from if you have different levels of access. So if you're an admin, you'll have access to admin, or if you do have a student account, you can switch between teacher and student. Okay. So now about creating activities in Seesaw. So the one we're going to talk about is using the activity library. Who has time to create something from scratch? Nobody. Instead, Seesaw has a huge activity library where other teachers have created things and shared it with others for you to access. So here, I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign. And here I could do assign activity. So there's kind of two ways to get to the library. I'm going to show you one way first. Clicking on the plus sign and select assign activity. And it automatically takes you to your activity library. I'm gonna let that load. While I'm waiting for that to load, there are 3 parts to your activity library. One is My Library, which are things that you have created or you have saved for yourself. The second one is the School and District, which I don't believe is set up just yet because we're still getting our accounts together. Waiting for that to load. See, right now there are no activities, but if you have within our district or within your school that teachers are sharing, you can see that here. And then the first one is community. So this is the main place you'll be going to for getting ideas or have some that's already ready-made for you to use. Apologize, that is a little slow here. So here, once you're in community, you have the option to filter. It automatically defaults me to pre-K since that is the grade level I have set for my class. You can also filter by different grade levels if you're trying to look for something specific for a grade level. You can also filter by subject, so you can look at all of them, art, computer science, and on. So this is the list that you can choose from. Or you can just search yourself here, anything in particular. So for example, I'm going to type in letter sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And here are all pre-K letter sound types activities that other people have shared. Then you could take a look at it by just hovering your mouse over it. See how my icon changes from a pointer to a little hand. So I want to take a look at this. I'm going to click on it. Give it a moment to load, and it shows me a preview of what the activity looks like. So this is the directions that are given to the students. It already has a recorded instruction for me, and this is what the main assignment looks like, and this is what the students will get when you assign it to them. If you do like this activity, you can go ahead and just click on the little heart. If I select it, it is now pink, and I have a pop at the bottom that said it's saved to my library. So I'm going to go to my library. And I apologize, it is loading quite slowly. And you'll see the last thing that I just added is here at the top by Katrina Frazier, my letter sounds activity. It's already in my library. If I think it's perfect, I don't want to make any changes to it, I can click on the green button, Assign. And you'll see I have several classes on here, but you can pick the specific class you want to assign it to. So for example, this class, and then I'll click Assign to one class, and then the students will automatically see it by going to Activities. They'll see that activity for them. Or if you don't want them to see it just yet, you can schedule. If I click schedule, you can choose a time for it to be available for the students to see. So for example, I want them to see it on Saturday, not that they're working on a Saturday, on Saturday, and I could choose a time, then select the check. Or if I want them to have it already, I can go ahead and click Assign immediately. So I'm just gonna do this one and do Assign immediately. So if any of you are still in that class for the student, you'll see that assignment already in the classroom. So it tells you, again, that to make sure the students sign in, and then the students can respond by clicking on Add Response. Now that I have this activity and I realize it's not quite perfect, so again, I'm just going to select the activity itself. And again, this is the preview mode, so you could see what the activity is and all the directions. But anytime you see 3 dots, so here it's on the bottom right, if I select the 3 dots, and let me scroll down a bit, I can add it to a collection, meaning a folder if I want to organize all of my activities in my library. I can copy and edit the activity. So if I want to make changes to it, so I'm going to select Copy and Edit Activity. And now it takes me to this screen for me to edit it and make changes to it to fit my needs. Here it says My Letter Sounds. Maybe I could say, I don't want to say my, I want it to say letter sounds. And then these are the directions that Katrina already put in here. And you'll notice that here it says click the, and then it has colon, add, colon. So these are the codes that they use. There is a document that I will share as well that you can use to show up the same exact icons that are used in Seesaw. So that's the great thing about Seesaw, is that it makes it more easy for students to understand and recognize certain things. So if I say just the add button, it's like, what's an add button? Or if I say the plus button, they don't know what that is. So using the code colon, add, colon, we'll do that. And right now there's a recording that the person who created this activity already did. So if I click play.
Click the Add button to open this activity.
So I'm just gonna pause that. And notice that she does have an accent and it's not my voice. So I can delete this recording by clicking delete, select delete, and then you'll see the option now, add voice instructions, where I can add my own voice to it or my own directions that if I did make any changes to this, I could do that. So here I'll click add voice instructions. The little icon will come up and then it'll ask me to click on it when I'm ready to record. So I'm going to click that and I'll say 1, click the add button to open this activity. 2, click the drawing to choose the pencil color. 3, click the record and then circle and read the letter sounds. So I'm just going to stop there. I'm not going to say the whole thing. But then once I click pause, it's going to process the recording that I've done and attach it. So now I can listen to it.
And I'll say 1, click the add button.
So I'm just going to stop that there. But that is how you can add your own recordings on here. I did see some people were asking about translation. Unfortunately, it doesn't translate unless you can speak in another language. You could do the different language on here. And then you could see the attachment that's on here that the students will get so they can work on it. And you can still make those changes by deleting it and uploading your own. Once you are done, you'll go ahead and click save. And then now you can see that in my instructions are different. And this one, now it doesn't say Katrina anymore. It says me because I'm the one who made changes to this. This is my own copy that I made changes to. And if I'm ready, I can go ahead and click the assign button and then send it to my students and click assign to one class. So I'm going to close this. So anytime you are in your activity library and you want to go back to your class, on the top right, you'll see back to class. If I click on this. And now I'm back to my class and it automatically takes to my activities tab. So you could see the 2 lessons that I put here. My letter sounds. This is the one that Katrina made and I made no changes to it. But if I go to the other one, you can see this is the one that I created. And it has 16 is the time. So you can see that's my recording versus the other person's recording. And also here I changed the title. Oops, sorry. So my screen just froze. So, and as you can see here where it says the add response, instead of having the word add, it actually takes the picture of the icon for them so the students know what to click on. So here it says add response. That's the button they need to click on. And that's what it looks like. Instead of having them trying to figure out what is the add response button is. It shows them exactly in the directions. And here is where you'll view all your students at once on who has submitted. You'll notice that no one has submitted because I just posted it. If I close out of that, I can scroll down some more on the ones that you have participated in. If I select this, Jake did show how you could see all the students and how has submitted theirs and versus who hasn't. And you can click on it specifically so that you can see in a bigger view to see what that student did. So this one was just, there's no video, so you just see what items they have dragged to which place. And if you think it's good, you can click approve. Then it will be put into their own journal. Or if you think that, oh no, they didn't really finish it, I want them to be able to go back and make any changes, you can click send back and the students will get a notification that the teacher sent it back to them. Or this was an inappropriate post, I can select the delete button. And because I'm in this mode, I could see Catherine's post. On the bottom, you'll see previous posts. I can toggle from one activity to another instead of switching screens over and over. Then I could see that these students have not responded, which is okay. And then it just keeps taking me from one response to another. Also, I did notice that someone did ask about commenting. So if a teacher can comment, so if you click comment, you can type in your response here at the bottom, or you could do a verbal one by clicking on the little microphone. If I click on this, and then it's going to ask me, I'll click it when I'm ready to record. And I'll say, Teresa, you did an excellent job. Make sure you drag in all the icons, not just some of them. Click pause. This is just an example. And Teresa, this is no way trying to show, what you really do, but this is just an example so you could see instead of doing a response, you could do a voice comment so the students can hear your response as well. So that's still processing. Okay, so, and then I can click the check and it will, the students will get a notification that I sent a comment to them. Close out of that. I'm gonna go back to the presentation. So again, we have step-by-step directions in the presentation on how to find an activity. You'll click the plus, click assign activity, search by a subject, subject, grade, or keyword. and click the heart to save the activity. Select My Library and click Assign to choose and choose the class or specific students you want to assign. So now is the time I'm going to give you some time to take a look at the lesson library and find any lessons that you're interested in, and take a look if you realize that you want to make any changes to it. Try to edit and copy the lesson. Again, you click the 3 dots on the bottom right of the activity and select Edit and Copy the lesson and try to assign to your class. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes here so that you can try out the activity library. Excuse me. I do see Deborah's question. It says where you look for the on your desktop. So it's a website. So if you go to the, let me close out of this, back to my Seesaw. You may see a blank on the left side. Mine isn't blank because I do have some things posted, but to find the activity library, you'll click on the plus sign, then select Assign Activity. And then when you select that, it takes you to your activity library. It automatically takes you to your own library, so you may not have anything in there. But to find activities that are already made, you will go, once it's loaded, you'll go to Community. So it automatically takes you to My Library. But if you're trying to find things that are already made, you'll select Community. And here is where you will search by grade level, by subject, content area, or you can search specific words, like if you're doing a noun lesson or a math lesson on addition, you can. Also, when you're in community library, I did forget to mention that on the first icons, so for example, I chose pre-K. It gives me getting started with Seesaw in pre-K, some 5 activities that you can start using. Also, there are some welcome to pre-K icebreakers and class community ideas. There's 10 activity ideas that Seesaw recommends for you. And also pre-K remote learning activities by Seesaw. So there's 27 activities that they think that Seesaw has approved, that thinks that you can use and ready to go. And if you scroll down, it does some trending ones, so some popular ones that a lot of teachers are liking. And you can see that 3,711 teachers like the Color Monster Angry Feeling activity. So they tried to share with you things that are very popular with teachers that they recommend for you. So again, when you click the plus sign, select Assign Activity, and it takes you to your activity library. We have about 20 more seconds. And I know Clarissa and Jake are rocking the chat right now. So a few more minutes of exploring the activity library, editing, and trying to copy the lesson and trying to assign it to a class. Okay. So, sorry, flying through different slides. I did went ahead and talked about review and approve posts, but in this presentation, we've included some screenshots for you. So when you click the journal tab, the one with the book, you can view all your students' work, which is called the class journal. And at the bottom, you'll see a red icon saying that you have 8 unapproved posts. And you can click the review button to see which post that needs to be approved. You can also look in a calendar view, and you can do that by selecting the calendar icon. So I'm just going to go back here to my Seesaw and go back to my class so you could see and where to find that. So I'm going to select journal, and it's showing me my class journal. We have like 100 of you in this class, and you see right here on the top right, you see the 3 lines. So this is showing me a stacked view of all of my students' posts on here, or you can select the little calendar icon, which is right next to it. So if I select that, it's gonna show me all the activities in calendar view. So all the activities I assigned on the 24th, or all of the posts on the 24th, or all the posts on the 25th, I can look at it organized that way. Okay. And then the other one, you can look by a specific student. So instead of going by class journal, on the right side, you'll see a list of all your students. So for example, I want to see Mila's post. I'll select Mila and it will show me all of her posts and any posts that I need to approve. Then the other one is where comment or like any student post. Again, you'll be in the journal, and below each post, you'll see the like and the comment. If it is enabled and turned on, you'll see him on the bottom left corner of each post. And so you can post to the class journal. So if you don't have a specific assignment for them and you want students to be able to share something, if you're in Zoom, if you want them to like, oh, go find something in your class, in your house that starts with an M. That's something that you could do with your students, and all they have to do is click the plus and click post student work instead of an actual assignment for them to complete. And then again, approve student post by clicking the review button. And because we have about 4 minutes, I did kind of rush through that. I did show also in the demonstration, but I also want to make sure to talk to you about families to Seesaw. So if parents are using if you're connecting communication-wise with your parents on Seesaw, they have that option. However, the parents, if they are using a mobile device, they do need to download the Families app in order to be able to communicate with you. So if any of you are familiar with Class Dojo, there's like a student component and then there's a parent component. So Seesaw is similar to that, except it's more comprehensive with activities than it is for Class Dojo. So I'm just going to explain here that families play an important role, and we encourage families to create a home of learning routine and distraction-free space. And then to help them support learning at home, since all of us are, in fact, home learning and teaching. And so that they can also provide positive feedback by liking and commenting back at their own child's post, so a student can see when their parent liked or commented on it as well. So it's not just the teachers that's commenting and giving feedback, but the parents can. And it's feel okay about not having all the answers. On our presentation, we've also provided an English and Spanish information about home learning ideas that you can share with your families. So I'm just going to click the English one just as an example so you could see some tech-free home learning ideas that Seesaw has created that you can share with parents, some things that they can try out. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but there's several ideas that they can do from home. And again, there's an English and Spanish version. Again, like I said, that the parents, they can go to app.seesaw.me and they'll select, they will select the parent or family. And if they are using the application on a mobile device, they will need to download the Seesaw Family app. So it looks like this Seesaw icon and it says family. And for you to connect with the parents, you will, instead of going to the plus for students, you'll go to the plus for families. And families only see their own child's work. So they can't see everyone else's. And anytime you send messages through Seesaw to the parents can select a language, and there's over 55 different languages that they can choose from. So any text that you send to the parents, it'll be translated for them. And when you're ready to connect the families, just tap on the plus families button. So, and they will need to use an email or Google to sign in to their account. Also, Seesaw will provide print paper invites. So if you wanted to print out the paper invite specifically for each student to connect with, you could do so and download a different language of the paper invites, or you could do a sample email to email your parents, since I know most of you are emailing parents to communicate with them. Also, privacy is Seesaw's priority. It is compliant with our privacy policies, and they have more information about their privacy policy here by going to web.seesaw.me/privacy, and give you some time to put in the chat if you have any additional wonderings, any questions. What would you like to see more of? is it create an activity from scratch. The one that I showed is from using from the activity library. But if you're also interested in creating an activity from scratch through Seesaw, or if you want to know more about family support, please go ahead and put that in the chat. Any questions, any wonderings? And here is our contact information for Clarissa, me, Marianne, and Jake. And I apologize, it's not PGCPS remote teaching. It's that's no longer our active website. It's bit.ly/T3PGCPS is our website. That's where we will be posting a recording of this session for you to access, and also a copy of this presentation. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at T3PGCPS. And Teresa, I just saw your question since I'm able to look at the chat right now. It says, yes, you can post a Google Slide activity to Seesaw. However, if it is a Google Slide, it's mostly just the background template that you're going to use. And the stuff that you want your students to do, the interacting, the dragging, and the drawing, has to be done in Seesaw. And that's something we're going to share in our advanced session once we make that available. And that information will be shared out to you as well. And yes, Cynthia, activities from scratch, we plan on doing an advanced session soon after we've complete all these beginner four sessions, and the Q&A that we have next week on October 1st and October 2nd. I forgot the times, but I know Clarissa and Jake, if you're able to put in the times for the Q&A, that's next week. We have a Q&A session as well if you have any additional questions on Seesaw. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Again, our contact information is on the screen, and just stay on just for a couple of minutes in case any of you still had any questions. And yes, thank you, Jake. October 1st, our Q&A is at 1 o'clock. And October 1st and October 2nd, the Q&As will be at 1 o'clock, and we'll be sharing the information for you to join those sessions as well.